Our people, when they do art, their language is my language. Their language is the language of the land, the language of the people. And when I see their creation on our walls, I know that they message that to our people when they stand there and look at it. They remember and they feel and they know. And that's why it's important that Indigenous artists are on the walls at Wabano. Our story can be shown through art. The value and the beauty, the best of who we are, can be shown through art. I always have to talk about story, because we're our stories, and my story is bound up in art. And I was surrounded by great artists who had imagination, and they created all around me. So it was natural for me when I came to Wabano to say, the way to see the world, the way to see our world was through our art. And so one day I went to an auction in one of our Indigenous agencies called the Odawa Friendship Center, and they had an art auction. And I saw this incredible piece. It was a woodland style, but northwestern Ontario, and it was powerful. It was one of the many stories, one of the many legends that we heard as children. That was about good and evil. It's about the light and the dark. It's about that struggle we have as people. It would be the beginning of the collection. I thought in my mind, I could see in my future beautiful paintings all around us. So I picked it up for our organization, and there began the very first painting that was on the wall at Wabano. I had a friend who was a doctor. Of course, we're in the health business. And I asked him, I said, I need something to put on my walls, because we were a nonprofit and we couldn't afford very much. So Dr. Tom Dignan, who was a physician and a good friend of mine, gave me 7 paintings at the time. 4 were Michael Robinson's and 3 were Alex Janvier's. The Michael Robinsons resonate very specially for me. And I think that when people do look at those, they're drawn into the power of our mythology. It brings you deep into the shaking tents and all of the ceremonies that people talk about, the sweat lodges. It brings you deep into that relationship with nature. Even the colors that Michael Robinson uses, they're not dark, but they command you to view it. They command you to see all of the pieces. He's a Great Lakes Anishinaabe, because everything he links into, everything he talks about, everything you see is always about the link between water and land and sky. Alex Janvier is an extraordinary artist, an extraordinary colorist. I mean, we were privileged. I mean, even the National Gallery didn't have these on their walls at the time, but we had them on our walls. So they were the first things that our people would see when they come up into the common area. And it was remarkable what they saw, what they said, the memories and the stories. And so many people would stand around the paintings and speak their language and talk about things that they saw in them and remembered their stories. The one wonderful thing that happens when you engage with artists is that you meet other artists. and it becomes an exciting journey to take. And there was one artist along the way, and her name was Leah Dorian, that she had a freedom of spirit, and she was so easy to work with. And Leah created this beautiful painting as this woman with her arms up to the universe, screaming her power out there to say, yes, this is my voice, and you will hear it.
She looks like she's just full of magus, so that magus is the creation of man, the creation of the human being, and she's just full of that creation as she just moves forward to send her prayer up. Just so, so powerful. Nothing can hurt her, nothing can harm her.
There is a story that has to be told, and how you tell that story and what you use to tell the story sometimes makes a difference. Here we used Alex Janvier's very powerful piece on residential schools. It's very different than some of his usual style. It is a violent view of residential school. It is a dark view of residential school. Yet the colors that he uses are light and bright, but the symbolism is harsh, and it should be, because it was a very difficult period. So when you first come up, that is what you see. So it draws you in to try and understand the symbolism that he has on this very large piece that is 8 feet tall, and as you walk in, you see it and you are taken back by it. Then you walk down the hallway and you come by another painting by another very famous Albertan. They're both Albertans, George Littlechild. It's entitled North American Prison Camp 2. And it's colorful. So he's using color that draws you in, because all of a sudden you think it is playful, but it isn't. It is another dark piece that talks about residential schools through art. For me, it is like an easing in. It is art that is easing you in to the story that is going to be told in writing at some point along the way. I think it prepares you to be open. I think it prepares your heart to be open. One of our staff members was working with a group of homeless men. They were learning wood carving, and they would come in for healthcare services and go out, but they would see things on the walls. So they thought that a gift for all of the hard work of the staff and the center, that they would gift us a piece of artwork for the walls so that they would be present, that people would see their beauty on the wall. And it was called the Tree of Peace. And the Tree of Peace in itself is to always be prepared to create an environment where you get along. You have all your bundles of preparation underneath the ground. And what you need to work on is your relationships and how you communicate that relationship with the people around you. And I think that was the message that they had learned in their work with our wonderful staff. You know, art gives possibility. When people see it, they think about their own beauty, they think about others' beauty, but they also think about the possibility of creating. It may be becoming a painter, it may be something else that they're gifted with. One of the advantages of building a beautiful art collection and creating a place of beauty like the center, people come to know you, and many artists started to see what was happening in the center. So a good friend of mine, David General, he always felt that our center had a feel of the feminine in our space, that it was about the power of women, because most women were doing work in healthcare at the time. And he said, I'm going to make you a grandmother moon in bronze. And because the month of June is a favorite month of mine, I'm going to make you the strawberry moon. And he brought it in, and it is this magnificent, gorgeous bronze, multi-toned in bronze strawberry moon. I thought it was best to place it at the entrance where I have a donor wall, and that it would shine bright there for all to see when they came in. And plus, it is the entry into the grand gathering space where I have the 13 Grandmother Moon pillars. So it would hold that space, hold that sacred space. He was a wonderful artist that I spent a lot of time with. She was a budding artist. She did incredible pieces of work, and she would often sit and think about ideas and sketch when we were traveling together, because we did some trips across the country for work. And she created a piece. She created many pieces for us, but the one piece that I think struck me the most was Reverence for Life, it was called. It has all of our plants, all of our medicines, all of our beautiful plants, like roses and the trilliums and all of the things that you equate with being in this space, in this province. These were flowers you would see every day. It's about the interrelationship of our lives, of human beings and the connection of the earth, all in one, and the importance of our reverence for life. There are teachings in our culture about the power of the land and what it creates and how important it is for us to live. And one of them is corn. And through the years, people have created incredible things. They have created baskets, they've created things that are useful, dolls for your children to play with, all kinds of things like that. But they've also used it for ceremony. And one piece of art that we received at the beginning of the new creation of the building was this corn husk mat. And it was gifted by Jan Longboat, an elder from Six Nations. She talked about what this would be used for, the ceremony, and what it would mark. And because it was important to us in that given moment, because we had created something important, that beautiful piece of art was meant to mark a fundamental journey that we had made. And it was culminated in this beautiful mat that normally we would have walked on. You would have walked over it in reverence and in honor of that moment. So it is the simple things sometimes in life that become the most important. Well, there were people that used to think that what I should have on my walls was health promotion posters, telling me about AIDS and, tobacco cessation and, all of those things that would be normally on the walls. But that's not what people wanted to see. I mean, those can be discussions that you can have downstairs in the clinic, but that's not what people want to see. They want to see themselves reflected, and they also want other people to see themselves. They want people to understand that they are looking at people who are also beautiful, who are also extraordinary and creative, and are being the best that they can be through their art. It is the artists that are going to move us forward. It is the artists that have changed the world. They have created the space for us to be open enough to have that discourse that we need to have in this country to make those changes. Because without open hearts, I don't think we could have had the hard conversations that we would have had in the past, that we are having now, and that we need to have in the future. Wabano is a is a beautiful place. If we were branded, we would be branded as a beautiful, as a place of great beauty in this country. And we already have that reputation. Everywhere you go, you see your beauty reflected in art and color and joy and celebration. But never forgetting the work, but doing it and understanding that our walk is the walk of beauty. That when they walk in, that they see themselves beautiful, moving, always changing, always full of hope, and always creating, imagining new futures that are strong and that their children will thrive. They have the opportunity in that given moment, surrounded by the power of art, the power of creation, the power of imagination in one given space, and they feel valued in that given moment.